U.S. Department of Justice has released the long-awaited Mueller report on the Russian interference in the 2016 presidential elections. The report has cleared U.S. President Donald Trump and his campaign of any collusion with Russia during the election, but the report notes that Trump is not above obstruction of justice laws and that the Congress does have the authority to investigate that. The report noted 10 instances where Trump took actions that could have been obstructive. Here's a quick look at the key takeaways of the Mueller report. Now, in the report, Robert Mueller was unable to conclude President Donald Trump whether he was guilty of obstruction of justice based on the evidence. The report said, and I quote here, "If we had confidence after a thorough investigation of the facts that the president clearly did not commit obstruction of justice, we would so state. Based on the facts and the applicable legal standards, we are unable to reach that judgment," unquote. The report also outlined why obstruction by President Trump failed. It failed because others refused to carry out orders. The report said, well, the president's efforts to influence the investigation were mostly unsuccessful, but that is largely because the persons who surrounded the president declined to carry out orders or accede to his requests. In May 2017, when Trump learned that Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein had appointed Special Counsel Robert Mueller, he was really disappointed, it seems. According to the report, after hearing the news, Trump slumped back in his chair and said, "Oh my God, this is terrible. This is the end of my presidency." The president became angry and lambasted the Attorney General for his decision to recuse himself from the investigation. "How could you let this happen, Jeff?" he said. Nearly a month after the report, Trump had asked the then White House lawyer, Don McCain, to remove Mueller, but he refused. The report said on June 17, 2017, the president called McCain at home and directed him to call the acting attorney general and say that the special counsel had conflicts of interest and must be removed. McCain did not carry out the direction, however, deciding that he would rather resign than trigger what he regarded as a potential Saturday night massacre, unquote. According to the report, Mueller never found any evidence that Trump campaign was tipped off about the Russians having emails that could damage Hillary Clinton. The report said when interviewed, Papadopoulos and the campaign officials who interacted with him told the special counsel's office that they could not recall whether they had shared any information that Russia had obtained dirt on the candidate Clinton in the form of emails, or that Russia could assist the campaign through the anonymous release of the information about Clinton.
I think the level of detail in the report is one of the most important takeaways from it. The first volume that deals with Russian election interference and the actions of the Trump campaign is a couple of hundred pages long and goes into exhaustive detail about the information that they've gathered, interviewing 500 witnesses, issuing more than 2,800 subpoenas, and putting together probably the most complete picture of what happened during the 2016 election involving the Trump campaign and Russia. The other thing is how much the special counsel grappled with whether or not the president had crossed over the legal line into criminal obstruction. As you see in the second volume of the report, he details these 10 episodes and also then discusses, what the law is and how it applies to a president, ultimately deciding that they could not answer the question because there are difficult legal issues at play, and leaving that kind of open. As we know, after the report was turned in weeks ago, the Attorney General then stepped in and decided that the president had not obstructed justice. And today you saw him reflect that in his press conference announcing the report.